Chapter 10. All of the followers watched in amazement as an enormous fire beast broke through the mountain. Emerging through the tip of the volcano, the glowing creature, standing hundreds of feet tall, spread its magnificent wings. The beast, resembling a bird, let loose a chilling shriek before taking flight into the air. As it flew off, a trail of smoke and dissipating embers followed. Abigail could tell by all the faces of the researchers that they did not expect a bird to crawl out of the volcano that their people had been worshipping for over 200 years. Abigail knew that there was no longer a knife held to her throat. She tried to turn around, but the mixture of the adrenaline produced from the spectacle and the relaxation drugs in her system were too much. Abigail's eyelids began to flutter, and she slumped over onto the altar. "Wake up, Miss Abigail Winthrop." "Who?" Abigail opened her eyes to the familiar sight of the room she was locked in the previous night. Dr. Benu crouched in front of her with a worried look drawn upon his face. "Simply amazing," Dr. Benu said. "To think, all these years, we were harboring a creature of such greatness, and before our eyes it is born." "Are you still going to kill me?" "No, we are not monsters," Dr. Benu informed. "There would be no use in sacrificing you now. The creature is no longer here." "Well, that's good news." Abigail could not help but let a smile slip through. "Perhaps when it returns," Dr. Benu joked, letting his own smile show through. "Can I leave?" "That is a tricky question, my dear. I do not wish you harm, and I sincerely apologize for the nature of our encounters, and hope you are not holding any resentment. But it is understandable if you are. I could not let you go if you plan on striking back against us, but I also do not wish to hold you captive. We have no way of holding you to your word if you tell us you wish us no harm in the future, which leaves me to where I am now. Should I let you go, or should I choose you to stay?" "To be honest with you, I am a little sore about you trying to offer me to an inanimate object. I thought the bunch of you were crazy, but then, when I saw a gigantic flaming bird crawl out of a mountain, your beliefs did not seem all that outlandish anymore. I understand what you were trying to do, and I acknowledge that I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. If you let me go, I promise, as one seeker of answers to another, that no ill doings will come to you by my hand." "We were all hoping that was your sentiment. We have prepared your bike and wish you the best. I doubt you will take us up on the offer, but you're welcome here whenever you like." Abigail cautiously exited the room, followed by exiting the facilities, half expecting it to be a trick. She departed and climbed onto her bike and pedaled away, without any opposition. As Abigail rode through the woods, she considered her promise to the doctor. Did she want to retaliate? Perhaps get the law enforcement agencies involved for their kidnappings and murders? Abigail decided that it was best not to pursue that option at the moment, seeing how there were more important matters at hand, such as a flaming creature born to the earth. The streets were empty, and the air was still ashy. The good news was there was no sign of bird in the sky. Abigail was unsure of what her next destination was, so she decided if she headed to the diner she ate at a few days earlier, she could rest and formulate a plan. The diner was a few miles away, and even though she was tired and her spirits were broken, she pushed along. She arrived to an empty diner, as she expected it would be, and let herself in through the shattered glass door. She jumped behind the counter and checked the television to see if anything was airing. "One knows what the creature is, but what we do know is that the creature does not come in peace. San Diego, Paris, Montreal, Atlanta, Sydney, all are among the cities destroyed by this being, which does not appear to be of this world. What we do know is that it moves with great speeds across the world, stomping down on the cities which erupt into flames. There only appears to be one of them, and it almost looks like a gigantic fiery bird." Abigail left the television on, but focused her attention on foraging for food over watching the news progress. She fumbled around the diner for some pre-made food so that she could move on. Abigail settled on cereal, but was unable to find the milk she required to top off the meal. Giving up her minuscule efforts, she settled on water and hovered her bowl of cereal underneath the faucet. As she saturated her meal, she heard the ring of a bell, a ring that she recognized as the front door. Why someone would open a shattered door was beyond her, she thought, as she ducked behind the counter to spy on her company.
"Hello? Is anybody in here?"
asked the tattered and hoarse voice of an elderly lady.
I believe I saw someone enter moments ago, but I cannot be too sure of anything at my age.
Regarding the aged woman she watched as harmless, Abigail popped her head up from the counter. "Hello, I am here." Even though she was expecting someone to be in the diner, the older lady still jumped as she was startled by Abigail's voice.
Goodness me, aren't you a sight for cataracted eyes? We were wondering if you could be of any assistance to us.
Seeing only one person in front of her, Abigail questioned whether or not the woman was slightly senile, but offered a chance to clarify. "Are there more people left in town?"
Yes, a few of us were left behind, 4 to be exact. All of us are what you might classify as elderly. Our families disregarded us for some reason or another when they packed up and left town. The heat is starting to get to us, and we are not sure of how much longer we could survive here.
"Well, I do not plan on staying in this town too much longer. What sort of assistance did you have in mind?"
If you could drive us as far north as you are going, towards cooler weather, we would be much obliged.
"I am heading north, but all I have is a bicycle. I'm afraid I cannot carry 4 passengers."
Well, dearie, we have a car. Why don't you use that? This way, we help each other out.
"That would be great," Abigail smiled. "But if you have a car, how come you did not drive yourself out of town?"
About 2 months ago, the townsfolk started enforcing the elderly license removal program, which took the license away of those over 75 years of age if they got into too many accidents or were deemed legally blind. I was a victim of the latter, but to be honest, I endorsed the plan, and I think it has made the streets safer. But rules are rules, and disaster or not, I am not authorized to drive, and neither are my 3 friends.
"When would you be ready to go?" Abigail asked, trying to quickly think of where she wanted to go. She should head south to Washington, D.C., and try to offer her insights to what was happening, but she would have to drop off the old folks first.
We are ready to go when you are. Let me tell the others.
The elderly lady pulled the door open and waved to 3 older gentlemen standing across the street. She took small steps to approach them, and Abigail followed alongside. Abigail heard inaudible murmurs from the men from afar, but once she got within earshot, she heard their complaints.
It's too hot. How about this weather? It is drying up my skin. Do you have any lotion? I never did like the birds, especially flaming alien birds. I am serious. My skin is drying up. I need water. Hush up, Lloyd. We're all dry. Just pleasures of growing old.
Abigail introduced herself, but did not pay attention to them as they each introduced themselves. Instead, she continued thinking of what she had to do. "Nice to meet all of you. Where's the car?"
Right this way,
the older woman said as she pulled a set of keys from her purse. "Does anyone have any friends or family they can stay with? Where exactly would you like me to take you?"
Wherever you're heading, we would not want to be much of a bother,
one of the men said. "Well, to be honest, I'm not sure where I'm going, so I can drive you somewhere while I try to figure that out."
That is kind,
the man said, then turned his head towards newspapers that were blowing in the street. As the papers frolicked in the wind and tumbled through the air, they ignited into flames.
Did you see that? That is how hot it is. It is getting hotter by the moment. We need to get out of here. I'm burning up.
Abigail watched as the man's complaints of burning up turned into a reality as he combusted before their eyes. They all watched in horror as the flames danced from his skin, singeing his clothes and dropping him to the ground. "Quickly, into the car!" Abigail screamed as she placed her arms around the others and flocked them towards the vehicle. The others moved as quickly as their feeble bodies would allow, which was not as fast as Abigail would have hoped. In efforts to escape to safety, one of the other men stumbled over his feet and took a spill. Upon colliding with the asphalt pavement, the man burst into flames, his skin crackling, with harsh screams echoing in Abigail's ears, but she continued on. "Mortimer!" the old woman screamed as she reached back to her friend, but it was too late. There was nothing she could do. Abigail pulled the 2 remaining with her forward to the car, but immediately released the lady when she realized the pain traversing her arm was due to the woman herself lighting up. Abigail watched her crumple to the ground, and she turned towards the remaining man, who watched in dismay. He knew it was only a matter of time before his dehydrated skin led to his demise. Surely enough, he joined the ranks of the others and tumbled over burning. Now, with nothing slowing her down, Abigail hurtled over the bodies, making her way towards the car. She quickly fumbled with the keys to get inside the car, which was sweltering. She started the car and opened the windows to cool it down. She took off down the road, giving in to turning on the air conditioning for her own well-being. Abigail decided that since she did not have to make a detour up north, she would head straight to Washington, D.C., and see if she could offer any assistance. She flipped on the radio to see how the rest of society was faring, and was not surprised to hear that similarly to what she had just witnessed, people all over the world were suffering from spontaneous combustion, particularly the elderly.